Akash was a taxi driver, and that was how he made his living. One day, he was driving his taxi when a traffic policeman suddenly stopped him. The officer said, "You have violated traffic rules. You'll have to pay a fine." Akash asked in surprise, "Which rule did I break?" The policeman replied, "Either pay the fine or come with us to the police station." Hearing the words police station, a glimmer of hope appeared for Akash. He said, "I won't pay the fine. Take me to the police station." His wife Liza had been posted to that very station just 2 days prior. Akash had driven his taxi to put his wife through school, making her capable enough to become an inspector. He was confident that Liza would help him and ask the police officers which rule he had broken. Upon reaching the station, Akash was made to sit on a chair. At that very moment, Inspector Liza was scolding someone over the phone. "Don't misuse my name. I earned this position with my hard work. Don't expect such things from me in the future." After the call, she came out and asked the constable, "Why did you bring him here?" The constable replied, "He broke a traffic rule and is refusing to pay the fine." Akash looked at Liza with hopeful eyes, but Liza said in a stern voice, "If he doesn't pay the fine, confiscate his taxi and get him out of here." Akash was stunned to hear this. The same taxi he had driven to educate Liza and make her an inspector was now being used by her to take away his livelihood. Liza told the constable, "Take him out of here and confiscate his taxi. If he wants his taxi back, he can get it released from the court tomorrow." Tears filled Akash's eyes. He walked home with a heavy heart, utterly dejected. On reaching home, Akash told his elderly mother everything. "Mom, Liza has changed so much that she refused to even recognize me. She also confiscated my taxi, the very one I drove to make her an officer." His mother said sadly, "Son, do you remember? Just a few days after the wedding, Liza said she wanted to study and that we would have to bear her expenses. She insisted back then, and despite our hardships, we educated her. But today, she has forgotten us." Akash's 6-year-old son spent most of his time with his grandmother because his mother was always busy with work. He stayed away from his mother and often played and slept with his grandmother. Liza had received a government quarter, so she lived there and earned a high salary. The next day, Liza kept waiting for Akash to show up with the court papers to get the taxi released, but he never came. Furious, Liza went straight to her husband's Akash house. There, she saw Akash applying oil to his mother's hair while their son was playing nearby. No one was paying much attention to the child, yet he was happy and playing contentedly. Liza said angrily, "You're sitting here at ease and didn't even come to get the taxi released." Akash said nothing, just sat there silently. There was a strange sadness in his eyes, as if he had lost everything. Liza started shouting at her husband and mother-in-law. "Don't you people know how to look after a child? Is this how children are raised? What if something had happened to him? Who would be responsible?" Akash looked at Liza and said in a calm voice, "What are you talking about? Don't know how to look after a child? My mother has raised him from birth. She knows exactly how to take care of a child. It would be better if you don't say anything about this." Liza flared up at Akash's words and said, "Why didn't you come to get the taxi? I had arranged everything, yet you didn't show up on time." Akash took a deep breath and said, "If you were so concerned, you would have told them at the station that day not to confiscate my taxi. You're a senior officer. You could have found out the truth. But maybe you thought I wanted to take advantage of your uniform, even though I hadn't done anything wrong." Liza flared up at Akash's words and said, "Why didn't you come to get the taxi? I had arranged everything, yet you didn't show up on time." Akash took a deep breath and said, "If you were so concerned, you would have told them at the station that day not to confiscate my taxi. You're a senior officer. You could have found out the truth. But maybe you thought I wanted to take advantage of your uniform, even though I hadn't done anything wrong." Liza started screaming, "What do you uncultured people know about duty? You can't even take care of a child properly." With that, she grabbed her son's hand and took him into the room. There, she packed all his clothes and belongings and said angrily, "I don't want to live with a bumpkin like you. How long do I have to listen to your nonsense?" Akash said in a calm voice, "If that's what you think is right, then do it." But their 6-year-old son started crying and pointing at his grandmother said, "I don't want to go with Mommy. I'll stay with Daddy and Grandma." Even after hearing the child, Liza didn't stop. She pulled her son's hand and forcibly took him with her to her government quarter. When Liza's parents found out about this, they scolded her severely. But Liza was consumed by her ego of being an officer and said, "I don't care about anyone." Her parents were very hurt by her words and stopped talking to her. Her brother also tried to reason with her, but she would speak ill of him as well. Slowly, Liza distanced herself from everyone. Liza had hired a maid to look after her son. One afternoon, the maid took the child to the market. At the same time, Akasha's mother was also there to do some shopping. As soon as the child saw his grandmother, he ran to her and hugged her. There were tears in his eyes. He cried and said, "Grandma, I want to stay with you. I don't want to be with Mommy. Mommy lives with a bad uncle, and they both hit me." The grandmother was alarmed and said, "Son, what are you saying? Which bad uncle does Mommy live with?" The child replied, "An uncle comes to Mommy's house every day. Sometimes on holidays, he stays all day, and he always comes in the evening. If I don't pretend to be asleep, Mommy and that uncle hit me, so now I just pretend to be asleep. When they are together, they talk for hours and laugh loudly. I feel so bad seeing all this. Grandma, I don't want to stay with Mommy anymore." Just then, the maid came looking for the child. She saw that the child was hugging his grandmother. She quickly grabbed the child's hand and started pulling him, but the child cried, "I don't want to go with Mommy. I want to stay with Daddy and Grandma." The grandmother told the maid, "It's all right. You take your time and do your shopping. I will sit with the child until then." The grandmother wanted to take her grandson with her, but she was helpless. The maid made it clear, "My mistress has given strict instructions that this child should not go to their house." The grandmother tried to reason with her grandson. "Son, you have to stay with Mommy for now, but we will come soon and take you with us." Saying this, she consoled the child and sent him with the maid, then went home herself. The grandmother couldn't get the words her grandson had told her out of her mind. She was very worried that her son's wife was doing something so wrong. She didn't want to tell her son about it, but eventually she was forced to tell him everything. The grandmother told Akash everything. "Today, I met our grandson at the market. He told me that some strange uncle comes to their house who scolds and hits him." Akash was shocked to hear this. He decided that he would go himself and see what the truth was. One day on a holiday, Akash, without telling anyone, went to Liza's government quarter with his mother. He rang the doorbell. From inside, Liza, half asleep, opened the door and was startled to see them. Liza asked angrily, "What are you two doing here?" Akash's mother said, "We came to meet our son and grandson. What's wrong with that?" Liza fell silent. Akash went inside without saying a word. The scene inside made his blood boil. A young man was lying on the bed in the room, and their son was sleeping nearby. Seeing this, Akash became furious. In a fit of rage, he slapped Liza hard. As Liza's cheek stung from the slap, the man immediately sat up and said angrily, "Who is this rude person who is hitting you?" Liza looked at the man and said, "This is my good-for-nothing, uncultured husband." Akash became even more enraged hearing this. His body trembled with anger, but his mother calmed him down and said, "Son, be patient." Akash picked up his son and said, "So this is why you were living here." The young man was no one else but Liza Sr., with whom she had an illicit affair since her training days. Now that everything was out in the open, Liza said plainly, "It's a good thing you people came and saw for yourselves. I don't want to have any relationship with a bumpkin like you. Don't show your face to me ever again." Akash started to leave with his son. His mother also started to quietly walk away. Just then, Liza stopped Akash and said, "Before you go, do this. I've already prepared the divorce papers. Sign them." Akash signed the divorce papers without a word and left with his son. Now, Akash was sitting in a room at his house. His mother was also sitting nearby, wondering how to get her son's life back on track. Just then, Akash's mother opened an old trunk and started looking for something. Suddenly, she found a piece of paper. It was a land deed. The mother showed the paper to Akash and said, "Son, look what this is." Akash read it carefully and realized that the land was worth millions. After that, Akash sold the land and received millions of rupees. Now they had money and they built a beautiful house. Akash was very good at his studies, but he had left his own education for his wife's sake. Now he decided that he would complete his studies and achieve a good position in life. After this, Akash started studying again, determined to give a new direction to his future. Now, Akash's mother started a small business of making pickles and poppers at home. The maid who used to work for Liza also came to help Akash's mother. Slowly, everyone worked hard together, and their business started doing well. They began to earn a good income, and now Akash had no shortage of money. He focused on his studies. Sometime later, almost 2 years later, Akash was selected for the position of SP, Superintendent of Police. After becoming an SP, Akash's name was all over the media. People started calling him the taxi driver SP. Many people started coming to his house to interview him. Akash requested a posting in the same area where his ex-wife Liza was posted. However, Liza was still in an illicit relationship with her senior officer. That officer had made a video of her taking a bribe. He would repeatedly show her that video and threaten her, harassing her. Liza realized her mistake, but she couldn't do anything because she had already divorced Akash. As time passed, Liza's condition worsened. She knew that her lover was already married and had 2 children. One day when she questioned him about it, he threatened her. "If you say anything to me, I will show your video to everyone and you will lose your job." Fearing this, Liza quietly continued to live her life. She stopped eating properly, stopped wearing good clothes, and the man had even forbidden her from keeping a phone. One day, a party was organized to welcome the new SP, and Liza was also supposed to attend. When she joined the party, she was called onto the stage to say a few words. As soon as she got on the stage, she felt dizzy and fainted. Liza was taken to the hospital. Akash, who was now the SP, saw that the very same Liza who used to be so proud was now very weak. She was not even eating properly. At the hospital, the doctor said that Liza's condition was due to weakness. Akash was very surprised to hear this. He wondered how an inspector could be so weak. A few days later, Liza started thinking that she would one day meet Akash and tell him the whole truth. Then one day, when Liza was going to the market, she met her mother-in-law. She suddenly stood in front of her and said, "Mom, how are you?" The mother-in-law was not wearing her glasses and did not recognize her. She said, "Who are you and why are you calling me Mom?" Liza then said, "Mom, it's me, Liza. Don't you recognize me?" Liza's mother-in-law couldn't recognize her face because her condition had changed so much. The mother-in-law said, "You rejected my son. I have no need for you now." Now Akash's mother's business was doing well, and she had come to the market to buy goods. Store recognized Liza but denied it and said, "I have nothing to say to you." Liza pleaded, "Mom, please forgive me. I made a very big mistake. Please tell Akash to forgive me and take me back." After this, Liza's mother-in-law said, "Daughter, you will have to bear the consequences of what you did." Saying this, she pushed her away and went about her business. A few days later, Liza became very sad. One day, she went to the man she was entangled with and said, "Whether you make this video go viral or take my life, I can no longer stay with you." Saying this, she ran from there and came to Akash's house and knocked on the door. When Akash opened the door, he saw that Liza was standing there in a very bad state. He asked, "Who are you? What do you want?" Liza said, "Akash, I am your wife, and this is your child who is with me." Akash said, "I have already divorced you, and yes, this child will stay with me now. I have nothing to do with you anymore. If you ever come here again, I will treat you worse." Saying this, Akash closed the door. Tears streamed down Liza's face, and she started crying loudly. Akash's mother was listening to all this, but she said nothing, because she already knew that Liza had done something very wrong to Akash. Liza started to leave when she found out that the video that the man had made had gone viral. Because of this, she lost her job. Now she was very distressed and called her brother. But her brother also hated her because of Liza's actions, which had led to the death of their parents. And her brother had decided that he would no longer have any relationship with his sister. Now her brother also did not help her. The man with whom Liza had an affair played with her for as long as he wanted and then made the video go viral. Now Liza had also lost her job and started wandering around like a madwoman. A few days later, her health deteriorated so much that one day she passed away. Friends, this story teaches us that wrong relationships and wrong decisions can ruin a person's life. If Liza had not had an illicit affair, her life would have been different. What are your thoughts about Liza and Akash? Share your opinion in the comments below and share it with others as well. The purpose of these stories is simply to teach everyone so that we can make the right decisions in our lives. We will continue to bring you similar stories in the future. Thank you.